So normally literature search should be considering all these. Now we are in the protocol, right? Now we are writing the protocol. In the protocol, now we'll have to specify all these. Strategy to obtain full text documents. Now we were dealing with the research earlier, right? Now how to do the search, and you have to follow the search, and you'll have to indicate all these details in the protocol, right? And also explain the strategy to obtain full text documents, and also explain limit decisions, language, publication status, like that. Okay, and plan for update search near end of review. Okay, that also is very important, because now normally for a systematic review, it takes a long time. Now with my experience in the Perera faculty, because they are very busy, we have taken a lot of time to finish the systematic review, right? In that case, actually, now at near end of the systematic review, the search has to be repeated. Rerun the search to see whether there are any new articles that should be included in the review. If it is so, then you need to include those also in the review. Okay, so you need to update it. Okay? So plan for update. So all that you need to specify in the literature search in the protocol. And then software for managing references. You have to say what you are going to use for reference managing. Okay, whether it is EndNote or Mendeley or any other. Even PubMed through NCBI, when you have an NCBI account in PubMed, that also can be used for reference management, right? Okay. And right, again, I thought to show you this one. Again, status. Take action to address potentially biased reporting of search results. See? Action to address potentially biased reporting of research studies. That means now when there are research studies are published, there would be biased in reporting. That means now they will publish only the negative results, only the positive results. Negative results are not published. So that means now in your study also, now there will be good information in the negative results study, but it has not been reported. So now this says in the protocol, you have to say whether you are going to address all those bias points. Okay, and search gray literature databases, clinical trial registries, and other sources of unpublished information about studies. Okay, so the standards say that you need to do you need to search on gray literature. We will come to that later. Okay, and invite all study sponsors and researchers to submit unpublished data, including unreported outcomes, for possible inclusion in the systematic review. So if you think that there are some unreported and unpublished data which are very important to your research question, then you will have to clarify those things with the sponsors or authors, researchers, right? Okay. And then again, there is something called hand search selected journals and conference abstracts. I'll be talking about later. So now in the protocol, now we have to mention all this. Conduct a web search, right? And search for studies reported in a language other than English, if appropriate. Okay. Now they advise that it is good if you can consider other languages also, but I think it will be difficult. I mean, in my experience, we haven't taken any articles in other languages, right? But if you want, you can. I mean, always in articles in other language, the abstract will be in English, so you can get the information. You can get the essential information from the abstract. Right. So what databases should be used? Now all these have to be mentioned in the protocol. To reduce bias, multiple databases must be searched. Minimum for every SR, that's the Cochrane standard. Actually, Cochrane are the people who developed standards, right? So according to them, Medline, Embase, Cochrane library. Okay, but of course Medline is free of charge. We can use that. Cochrane is also you can, but Embase is not free for us, so we cannot use that. So other databases determined by the topic and disciplines. Now Scopus, IMSIA is the Index Medicus in the Southeast Asian region, sponsored by WHO. It is freely available. Sinal, Hinari, Ovid is again Medline. It's the Medline, but European thing. Scopus, actually, we don't have access to Scopus right now, but Scopus is available in the NSF. Through NSF, I have got all my searches done in Scopus through NSF. But I have to send, I send my search strategy, search query, I send all the details, and they just do the search on Scopus. So that can be done. Okay. So now those things you will have to mention in the protocol, whether you are going to use this or this or this, right? And then again, turning research into practice, database plus free. It's a free thing. And Gray literature. Again, we are coming to that later. So normally the search strategy to identify studies should be a combination of the following. Right? So in the protocol, we have to give all these details, what you are using. Searching electronic databases, cited referencing. Okay, cited references means visually scanning references lists from relevant studies. Now that at the end, after the quality assurance, you have the final number of articles you are going to use in the review. So you have to look at the reference lists of those articles. And then you have to see whether there are any articles that is good for your review. And then if it is there, then you will have to try and get that article. So that is cited references. And then citing references, forward citation. That means now in the Google Scholar, you may have seen when you do a search, when you find any article, you will see cited by at the end, last part of the article. You may have seen cited by. Cited by means now that you have the reference, now you have the article reference, and that article has been cited by some other researchers. Okay, so you need to go look for those articles, those who have cited this article. Okay, so citing references. So if you find any articles from that lot, the cited references, then you have to try and get those articles also. Okay, citing references. And then hand searching. Hand searching, I will be talking about it later. Hand searching of key journals and contacting study authors, experts, manufacturers, and other organizations, and searching relevant internet resources. So now search strategy should be a combination of all these. Okay, what is hand searching?
Excuse me, madam. There is a question in the chat line.
Okay.
It says, madam, are there any minimum limit in the number of articles we finally concluding?
No, I haven't seen such a rule, but I have seen some articles with just 5 articles at the end, 6 articles at the end. I have seen some systematic reviews like that also. It depends on the research question and the field of study.
Okay.
Yeah?
You can.
But in some instances there will be lot of articles. Now in our oral cancer systematic review, there are a lot of articles. Actually, those professors, Professor Tilakaratna, I mean, he doesn't want to miss any of those. So he wants to consider all those articles. There are 200 odd articles at the final. Now they have selected 226 articles. But they are reluctant to remove any of those without checking. Like that. It depends on the study area. But the minimum number, I haven't seen any such statement. Okay, right. So hand searching is journal volume or conference proceedings page by page. Check now journal, when you take a journal, in the key journal in your subject area. Okay, it has to be the key journal in your subject area, and take the journal and go through the content pages or go through all the articles listed. And then if you see any relevant article that you think that it will be good for your review, then you'll have to try and get that. Okay, that is hand searching. So what should be hand searching is the key journal and journal supplements, conference proceedings. Okay, and unindexed relevant journals also, unindexed. Okay, right. Now, grey literature, what are grey literature? Are these grey literature, relevant forms of grey literature: book chapters, conference abstracts, dissertations, thesis, internet sites, registered trial reports, white paper, annual reports. All those are under grey literature. So in the methodology, you need to look for grey literature also, if you think that those are relevant to your topic, right? But in some subject areas, there aren't many grey literature. Okay? And this is here there is a website. Now I think all these details I have given in my handout. Right, now we'll have to mention about the software that you are using for reference management. Right, okay, now we are coming to the next step. That is the study inclusion exclusion process, study selection process. Now we have defined the study inclusion exclusion criteria. Okay, and now this is the process, how you do that using the this criteria. Okay, now protocol 2B, it specifies the criteria, and now the method is the article. You go through each article to see whether it meets with the inclusion criteria. If it meets with the criteria, then yes. If it is not, then no. Then if it is, I mean, whether if you are not sure, then it may be, okay. And then now what is the procedure? Now, which meet the inclusion criteria, usually conducted in two phases, two passes, right? That means now you have a set of articles now. Not a set, actually. After the literature search, there will be a lot of articles, about 1,500 or lot of articles, and you first go through two passes. One is review through title and abstract. You look at the title and abstract, okay, and to see whether it meets with the criteria. Right, and also avoid possible sources of bias: author, journal, title. Now you cannot be biased with the author's name or journal title or something like that. You can't have any biases when you do this. By looking at the title and abstract, when you select, no bias. You should not be biased. Okay, and also it says you should not. It should not be biased by the language or publication type. Okay, and next pass is the full text. Now, if you cannot decide by looking at title and abstract, then you need to get the full text and then go through and decide. Okay, and then the most important thing is, now this process has to be done by at least 2 independent reviewers. Each article will have to check by 2 reviewers, but independently. They do it independently, and then when they finish, they compare their decisions. Okay, and if both says okay, then it's no problem. If one say okay and one say no, then there should be a third person available for conflicts. Okay, for this reason, actually, now there should be 3 people in the team. Okay, so it has to be the number of the number of people in the team, 3 should be the minimum. Okay, So always it is done independently by 2 people. Each article, now say about there are 500 articles, all 500 articles you'll have to go through. Actually for this, now this process has been made easy for us when you use the software called Ryan. Yeah, Ryan has been very handy. Actually, it is very useful, very handy. All our research review teams are very fascinated by this software. Actually, now it is now when you do it, I mean, it can be done independently using this Ryan, and then you can expose and then you can decide like that. It's a very handy software to be used only in the screening process. Okay, so again it says keep a log of excluded studies with reasons for exclusion. Now you will be excluding some and including some. So you always should have a list of reasons why you exclude those. Okay, right. So now all those can be done through Ryan. It is a Kata Foundation. The team is the Kata Foundation. Okay. So now the next protocol item is data extraction. Now we extract data from the articles that we are going to include in the review. Okay. And then we have to decide for studies selected for inclusion, what data will be extracted. Okay. So you have to decide on what data you are going to extract from those data, from those studies. All study characteristics have to be there, population, etc. Okay. And what software will be used. Now in the protocol, you will have to state all these. What are the data that you are going to extract, and what is the software you are using, and number of reviewers, how many people are doing the extraction. And again it has to be done by, now one set, say we have 100 studies, then 50 studies, 2 people go through 50 studies data extract. Okay, other 50 studies another 2 people are doing, and then they compare the 2 people, they compare with their each one whether there are any mistakes. Okay, so number of reviewers, dispute resolution process. So you'll have to mention how you are going, if when there are disputes, how you are going to resolve those. Okay, now even up there in the study selection, now when there is a conflict, okay, when there is a conflict, you will have to mention how you are going to resolve conflicts in the protocol. So now if you are using articles other than English, then you should have a process to get the translations, right? So that also have to be stated there. So best thing is to develop extraction forms, extraction tables for this purpose. Okay, so there are tables that we can use actually. I can show you those. So better, nowadays we do all electronically. So should be electronic extraction forms. Now we come to the method of quality assessment. Now this is also one of the most important steps in the SR process, right? Now actually, please tell me whether you need a break or something, okay? If you need a break. Do you need a break? We are still in the process. We are still in the protocol. That means we are talking about the details.
Yes.
You need a break, or can I?
No. No, madam, carry on.
Okay, right. So now in the protocol, now we are in the 2F, methods of quality assessment. Okay, provide details of methods of study appraisal to be used. So that is the thing that we are going to do in the protocol here about quality assessment. We have to say how you are going to assess quality of studies. Okay. Now there are various tools available. But there is no single tool that is suitable for use in all reviews. Okay. There are various tools for mainly now, as you know, there are various study designs. Okay, so in your review, the articles that you selected would be in various designs. So for various designs, you need to use various tools to check the quality. Okay? Now, use simple checklists or guides. Normally, what you have to do is, you have to assess the strength and the weakness of each study, okay, based on the checklist. Now, to assess strength and weakness, you can use these checklists, because these checklists are developed with several questions which would check those items that would deal with the strength and weakness of the study. Okay, so we'll come to that later, then you will understand. So at the end, actually, now we are going to use checklists to check the quality, but at the end, what you are checking is strength versus weakness. Okay, so if you find more strengths in the study, then that means that article is good. But if you find more weaknesses in the study than the strengths, then that article is not good. Okay, so we'll come to that. So I will show you how we are going to deal with those, right? So for example, actually now RCTs, controlled trials, randomized controlled trials, as I said, are considered as the highest quality type of research studies. Okay, so if it is a randomized controlled trial, now you have the opinion that it has the highest quality, but it has to be downgraded if you find any bias during the study, in the study process. If there are many bias, then you have to downgrade. Okay, and also inconsistency. Okay, and also indirectness. Now it may be indirectness to the research question. Okay, imprecision, then publication bias. Now if you find any of these any of these weaknesses in the study, even though it is RCTs, then you'll have to downgrade that. Okay, right. So choice for the checklist should be guided by the study design, as I said, and also the level of detail required in the assessment. Okay, that is also you can take into consideration. Right. Now define this quality. Normally, now these are the items that we will be looking at when you define the quality. The first is the appropriateness of study design to the research question. Okay, that is important. Appropriateness of the study design to the research question. In addition, then risk of bias. That means internal validity. Now, risk of bias means there will be many system errors. Okay, various kinds of system errors. We are going to talk about it later. And now, when the study has a lot of risk of bias, then means it is not internally valid, that article. That study is not internally valid. Okay, if it is free from bias, then it is a internally valid article. You can say it is a good article. Then you can take it. Right? So other issues related to study quality, choice of outcome measures. Now, in the research study, there will be the outcome that you are looking for, and there will be methods to measure the outcome, right? So choice of outcome measures. So there will be errors in that, and also there will be errors in statistical issues. Okay, and there will be quality of reporting, quality of intervention. Now, when you do the intervention, when you allocate the intervention, there will be errors the way it was done. Okay, so those are all the factors that you have to take into consideration when you check the quality. and the generalizability. Generalizability is the external validity. Now, if the findings can be applied to some other situation, it is generalizable. Okay, then it is externally valid. Otherwise, it's not externally valid. Like that. Now, that's how you define the quality considering these items, right? And all these will be checked through these checklist tools. Okay? You will see that when I will show you some tools. So again, when you do the quality assessment, again, consider assessment by more than one observer, each article. So each article has to be assessed for quality by 2 people independently, and then you'll have to come to consensus if it is not agreeable. So also now in the protocol, state how disagreements will be resolved. Okay, right. So now we come to method of data synthesis. Now, as I said, data synthesis can be done either meta-analysis or narrative analysis, using narrative analysis, right? Now, normally, if the articles or the studies that you have at the end, those articles are homogeneous. Those are homogeneous, and all those articles have statistical data, then you can do a meta-analysis. Okay, but if those articles are very heterogeneous, quite different from each other, then you cannot do a meta-analysis because those are quite different from each other. When it is heterogeneous, normally meta-analysis is not done. Then you'll have to do a narrative synthesis.